Hello, this is Lev from Fizzcode again, and in this video I'm going to show you something really spectacular about custom visuals. Charticulator is a really powerful tool to create such a kind of things, and via this report you can create more insights and even more beautiful reports. So this is the way if you're interested in. So let's see how this works. Normally you can create your custom visuals directly from Charticulator.com, from this website, and advise to look around on this really great website because you can see here a lot of great examples. Step by step you can follow a creation process of custom visuals from the beginning to the end, and this is a really cool and useful website because you can cover a lot of best practices in entirely different datasets and visualizations. In the Getting Started menu you can start learning creating charts, how to use elements, importing templates and how to use them in Power BI. Here we have also video tutorials step by step where each steps can be repeated in a special dedicated timeline that you can repeat every steps if necessary. It's, I think, really cool. I strongly recommend to start your learning process with these videos to reproduce these one by one, because here in the chart templates menu you can download the datasets and the template as well, and these datasets are in CSV format. You can originally import into Charticulator.com. Since this April, the Charticulator can be used directly from Power BI, so you don't have to manually import your CSV files. You can use directly data from Power BI as well. Just you need to import this custom visual onto your page. I will show you how. So in this example in Power BI we use a dataset including research and development expenditures by countries between 2011 and 16. But we need to have the Charticulator visualization into Power BI, so let's import it. Type the name of Charticulator, then let's click the Add button. As it is imported, it appears in our visualization panel. So let's insert into our report, then we can resize the visualization if you want. We press the Edit button and the special view appears here where we can either create a chart from the beginning or import a template. These buttons are inactive now because we need to add data into this Charticulator. Let's drag these data fields you are going to use, and now the buttons are active, so we can start editing our visual by pressing the Create button. Here we have our editing screen, so let's close the panels we don't use now, and here are the fields we've imported. So this is the main area. We are placing our plot segments. These are the layers and the attributes where we can set the properties of these elements, and here is a very important part of the layout called glyph. Glyphs are the core shape or element of a chart where we can insert a rectangle, circle or a triangle or even a point too. You can drag the selected element onto the glyph area, then each record from the dataset will get separated rectangle, which now is rather like a line due to the amounts of elements need to be fit into this area. The main approach of Charticulator that you are dragging data fields onto the property of a glyph area, then you can customize the size, the height, the width, the color and the opacity of the element based on your data, and you can also assign data fields to the axes. So we can define the shape, height based on our measure with the R&D spending data, then the height of each column is set based on their expenditure. Or for instance, in the plot area we can assign the axis as well to the data fields. So let's assign countries to y-axis and the year to the x-axis, then we will have a matrix with the same side of shapes. But it's too crowded, so in the filter panel we can select some countries we are interested in. So I filter to 11 countries, and we want to know what the differences are between the countries using this measure. So let's drag the expenditure to the glyph field color segment. Then we can customize the color of the gradient, like lower values will get a green color and the higher will get a red color. Then the result would be a heat map. Or another example, let's start dragging a rectangle to the glyph area. So now we've filtered the dataset, only 5 countries used, and we can see as we drag the country field onto the color as a legend. Now we have 6 lines and each countries represent the 6 years. Then we insert a text field into the glyph area. Let's turn it 90 degrees to fit in the rectangle. Then drag the country's name on the text field in the attributes panel. Then we can see in each line the relevant country name. Let's set the height of glyph based on the expenditure. Now it's sorted by countries, so let's switch the order by the expenditure. Now is in ascending order. I'd prefer to see the values in the most spending in research and development from left to right, so we can change it here, the order. I would also like to show how much of total they spent. I have a percentage field measure for that purpose. I can also insert here. So let's insert another text box into the glyph and set it properly. Then assign the percentage onto the text field. Then I want to insert a symbol. I prefer to use a star to indicate countries by year spend the most on research and development. On the attributes panel, we can see here the opacity property. We can assign the percentage onto it. I can fine-tune the scale here to set an interval to show these symbols only if the value is above 0.2%. My last example concerning to this dataset is a bit more spectacular. So let's insert a rectangle again in the glyph, then assign the year field to the y-axis. And we have filtered our data to only 5 countries. That's why we have this 5 times 6 matrix now. And assign the country to the color of the shape. Then select the expenditure measure and drag it to the width field of the rectangles. And the result is similar to a stacked bar chart. Let's put a text on the top of the shape. We would indicate the name of the countries. So we need to assign the country column to the text attribute. I turn it 90 degrees to fit the text more. And let's put it back into the middle. And I change the color of the text to white. Then a very cool thing is coming. We can add scaffolds. I would suggest to experience with these, and I prefer now the polar scaffold, which transforms your visual into a circular shape. So let's select it and drag it onto the plot segment, and the result is, I think, very cool. I need to turn the text back 90 degrees, and I can start playing with the angles, where to start and finish the circle shape. And I set the end angle a bit forward, and now we can see the years better. And we still can adjust the gaps between the shapes to make them better. And if we click on save, then on the back to the report button, we can get back to the Power BI and we can see the result. But let's get back to editing for a minute, because I still want to decrease the size of the country text. And we can select either the plot segment, where we are able to edit further properties like the style of the axes. So changing the font of the years to impact, I think it looks better. And now I'm satisfied with the results, but if we have more power and time to create custom backgrounds, that we can combine these and the result could be really spectacular. And I have another data set full of weather data concerning to an unknown country, and I want to show you to create complex visual using links and multiple plot segments. So let's place Charticulator visually into the Power BI page. Where I select only the day and summary fields. And in the filter panel, I filtered all the data to April 2011. Then I close all the panels are not necessary. First, I have to resize the plot segment I have already by default, and simply just dragging the anchor points in the corner and drop it in another guideline. Then I add the already well-known rectangular shape to it, where each column represents one record in this case, so it's one day. Then I modify the sizes of the shapes to a fixed size. The height would be 10 pixels and the width is 20. Then I drag the day value to the x-axis, so the days are appearing at the bottom now. In the properties of the plot segment, I can modify the range of the axis, so I set 1 as a starting value as the first day of April. Then I make another assignment, the summary value to days as a color indicates the type of weather by day. We also need text with the explanation of the colors. So the summary field is assigned to it, and I'm gonna align it to right about the small rectangles. So that was the first plot segment. Let's create the other one. I'm adding another empty glyph first. Then I select another type of plot segment, linear one. This is gonna be placed in the top of the report, and I insert another rectangular shape into the new glyph. Now this is a one-axis plot segment, so I can assign the summary data to this axis. I set the size of the shapes here as well. So the width is 80 pixels and the height is 10. Looks better now, I think. Then I want to use the same color coding as in the other shapes, so I drag the summary data to the fill property. And now I'm going to create links between the two plot segments. So for this purpose there is a tool called links, and I can select either line or band links between the shapes, and now I prefer the bands than pressing create links button. The links are created, but I still can maintain the basis of links to which size of the shapes are to be selected as a let's say starting reference, and I think now it looks much better. Then the new link layer is already here, so where I can set more properties, and in the type I prefer the Bezier curves. It looks better, and I can set the curvedness into a higher value. Okay, cool. Now I can save my work, then let's get back to the report, and I'm quite happy with that. And here again we can create custom background and user icons or images to create really sexy looking in the end. That's been for today. If you like this video, please don't miss to hit the like button, and I hope that I inspired you to start learning this kind of tool, and I really hope that Microsoft will implement such a kind of things in the near future into Power BI to be able to create more flexible reports as well. And see you next time.